Going and building my brand starting last year, after running a multi-million-dollar company for the last decade, there's one thing that I really need to focus on to help me get to that $1 million a year mark. Today, I reveal that one thing that I recommend to everyone who's in business. Hey, my name's Jesse Eker, and welcome to another amazing piece of content that's going to help you with growing your brand online. And today I want to talk about one of the most effective ways for you to actually scale your business, for you to continue your business, for you to hit those income goals that you truly want to hit. And that is audience building. Audience building. What is audience building? Well, audience building is getting a group of people to, get engaged or get that know, like, and trust factor with you and your brand and your business. And so when it comes down to it, you've probably heard something like the money's in the list, right? And that's referring to a list of people that are on your database, your customers, your subscribers, your fans, your friends, your connections of people that are in your network that you can send offers to. And the name of the game in business really is to get more no's in business. I know that sounds really counterintuitive, but the more no's that you get, the more yeses you'll get. And we know that there's a conversion rate, right? That out of 100 people, a certain amount of people are going to say no and a certain amount of people are saying yes. So if you want to make more money, what do you need to do? Speak to 200 people, speak to 300 people, speak to 1,000 people, speak to 10,000 people. So your goal is to get your message in front of more people and get your offer in front of more people. The more offers you can make into more people, the more money you'll end up making. When it comes down to it, you want to build a bigger audience, but not just any audience, because we know that there's these things called influencers now. And influencers are so good at making money, right? No, they're not. Because you'll find people with like millions of followers and they'll go and put a product out and guess what will happen? Nothing, right? They don't sell anything. They have no persuasion or no authority with their audience when it comes to a specific topic or expertise. So it's not about the audience size only. That's one factor that will help you. It's about picking the audience that's going to be targeted to your specific expertise and what you offer, okay? Congruency is key to your business. So if you're building an audience that has nothing to do with what you specifically offer and what you can monetize, well, then there's no point of building that audience. I'd rather you have an audience of 1,000 people that are targeted to what you offer than 1 million people where all 9 million people have nothing to do with what you do. We don't care about engagement, we care about money and sales, right? Because the more sales we can actually make, the more impact we can make, the more problems we solve. Engagement does not solve problems. You can't pay your rent or mortgage with a like, right? So we got to be thinking about how do you build your audience? And today I'm going to talk about the fastest and most effective way to do this, okay? So there's obviously going to be many different ways that you can build your audience. Can you post on social media? Can you, pay for advertising? Can you do some sort of referral traffic? There's so many different ways that you can actually build an audience. Today I want to talk to you about the fastest, most effective, and when it comes down to it, cheapest way to actually build your audience, okay? So I'm gonna go back to the basics here. There's 3 major ways that you would go and build your audience. Number 1, you can do it organically. Organically is the days of going to a conference or going to a network meeting and going and saying, hey, this is what I do, meet me, or here's my card, and you're meeting people one by one, right? Now, online, there are many different conferences happening every single day. We call those Facebook groups. We call those social media platforms, right? Lots of different conversations happening in different groups, a lot of different comment threads happening, different people's posts, create different interactions with people. These are like crazy different opportunities for you to network with people. Now, if you want to be more effective, you find groups, influencers, or hashtags that are going to be obviously aligned and congruent with what you offer, the audience that you would do. So you would go out and go meet these people. You would connect with these people. You'd build relationships with these people. You do not spam these people. This is just like you would go to a conference or meet someone in a networking event, how would you act with them? How would you speak to them, right? So there's that way of obviously building your audience, which would build your connection base, build your, what we call your network. Obviously you can pay for it too. You can get your message in front of more people. Now you can do this based off of content that you create, where you can create ads to the right audiences and pay for those content pieces to be in front of them. And if they interact with them, you build these specific audience lists that then you can use for remarketing and all this. I don't want to get into too much detail, but you can use those audience lists to move them down the sales process, right? So that's obviously a great way to build your audience quickly, is create some awesome pieces of content, get those content pieces in front of your audience and let your audience interact with them, and then use that audience to build, move them down the sales process, okay? So that's the paid way of doing it. You can do that whether you do that on Facebook, you can do it on Instagram, you can also do it on YouTube or any of the Google networks. There's lots of different ways you can do this. Today I'm not talking about the paid way, okay? There's been lots of challenges with many people going in the paid route, and it's because the model is constantly shifting and you need to be on top of that. And there's a lot of people getting banned from different platforms, and it's because they're just not up to par as far as what the actual rules and regulations are. They're what the policies are. Things that worked before don't work anymore, right? So unless you're gonna be very, very ingrained and in tune with what is actually happening with the different networks, I suggest you think about different ways to build your audience, okay? But it is a fantastic way to build your audience quickly. We do it all the time, and it was definitely part of our movement of getting to that $1 million a year, because that was one of our big expertise. Is we've done paid advertising for over 10 years. The third way, which is the way that I want to talk to you about today, is going to be the fastest, most effective, and also cheapest way to build your audience, okay? And that is using other people. Now, not like actually using other people, it's using other people's platforms. We call this getting on other people's stages, right? There's these different people who have their own list, they have their own database, they have their own audiences that they've built. And guess what you can do? You can tap into them. We call it the instant audience builder, because you have tapped into someone else's. So I'm gonna be on this talk that's gonna be online, and there's 30,000 experts and coaches who are registered. That's me tapping into that network so that those people can learn who I am. And that's gonna be the fastest and most effective way for me to get my message out to more people so that I can build that know, like, and trust factor. What I love about this is like they come and they listen to you speak. They're listening to you, whether that's a podcast, whether that's an interview, whether that's a summit, whether that's a webinar, whatever it is that you're doing with their audience, whatever works for them, they're listening to you. And the best part about this is because they already trust that person, they've built that affinity with that person, they've built that trust with them and that connection with them, you instantly look like you're more credible. Like, oh, I should know this person because they're recommending me to them. And so when you can now tap into, go from like just the one-to-one networking of here's my target market, I'm gonna connect with that person, to now I'm connecting to a person who has 30,000 of these people or 1,000 of them, you've now just exponentially grown your ability to connect with more people at a higher level, because again, you look like an instant authority with that group. So if you want to build your audience quickly, I would be thinking about, how do I get onto other people's platforms quickly? How do I get into other people's networks quickly? How can I showcase my skill to do that? So here's a few steps to think about doing that. Number one, do your research. The number one reason people do not say yes to you getting, I guess, pitched would be the word, of you getting into their network and going into their audience, is because you haven't done your research. You send the same blanket email to everyone, copy and paste to everyone. Why do you think it's gonna happen? If you act like everyone, you're gonna get the results like everyone. If you act different, you're gonna get different results than everyone else as well. So we need to do things that are gonna be different than what the regular Joe Schmoes are doing out there, the average people, right? So we want to make sure that we differentiate ourselves by doing our research. That means that we need to know who we're talking to, what they've done in the past, who they've had in the past, how we relate to those people, how we can build rapport quickly. And so we want to think about that stuff. Then We have opportunities. Opportunity one, you can send an email. A lot of people do that though. So how can we take that to the next level? Opportunity two, you can send a voice note. That's a great thing, but do they really get to know you? Opportunity three, you can send a video. Videos can be very personal. It can be very nice touch, and guess what? It's very different. So you do some research. You send a video to the potential people that's customized, and you say, you build rapport with them. You say, here's what I've seen of you. We're connected to these people, or, I've seen you do this, blah, 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 blah. You come up with why you would be a great fit for these people. Like you're basically saying, here's the problem that I can solve for your audience, which I know your audience is dealing with, and what I can bring to the table and how that's a win for you. And how it can make this a win-win also. I'll promote it to my database. I will do something with you in advance, or I'll reciprocate and do something with you, right? Maybe I'll have you on my show or something like that. So people are always looking for what's the win-win, what's the benefit for them? Because again, if they're sharing their audience with you, then you're tapping into their audience that they've built. Why are they gonna do that? Well, don't say, well, I'm no one. No one's gonna do that for me. That's not true. You solve a problem. That's why we gotta remember we're problem solvers. What problem can you solve for them to make them look amazing, to make them look great? Because guess what? Content creators are always looking for more content. Entrepreneurs are always looking for different ways to fulfill and keep their audience engaged so they come back and say, this person really helped me with this. This person helped me with this. Oh, that person referred Jesse, and he just refers the best people, right? So you got to make sure that you are always making this a win-win, but you also got to think about their audience. What do they need, and what can you fulfill that they're not fulfilling right now? And that's what you do. You go down your list, you do some research, you figure out what are the podcasts that are in your niche? What are the experts in your niche? What are the Facebook groups in your niche? What are the Instagram people in your niche? What are the possible Clubhouse, whatever the different strategies, they're just all over the place. Who are the people you need to connect with? Talk to those people, see what you can do to help out, and just go from there. All right, so if you want to build your audience and you want to do it fast, think about how do you get on other people's stages quickly? How do you get on other people's platforms quickly? And that's going to help you build a rock solid, very engaged, very loyal, very amazing community of people that is going to like you, know you, and trust you. So when it comes down to it, you always got to make sure you build an audience, not just a big audience of people who it doesn't matter what you're going to offer, but an audience that's targeted to what you specifically offer to be congruent. Number two is you got to figure out how you're going to build that audience, how you're going to build that. What I recommend, at least for right now, and the most effective way is use other people's platforms. Jump into other people's audiences and be that authority that's built in. I appreciate you watching this video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up because that tells YouTube that you liked it and will show it to more people. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe as I share weekly content on how do you build your brand to a 7-figure brand online quickly. Send that every single week. Lots of amazing stuff that you're gonna get right to your inbox. And I'd love to hear in the comments below, what was your biggest takeaway from today? Thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate your time, I appreciate your energy, and I appreciate your attention for being here. Bye for now.